Okay, there you go.
What's up,
Hi,
family?
what's up?
Just keeping it real with Charles and
And Melendia.
yes, happy Father's Day to all the
Happy Father's
fathers.
Day.
Yes, definitely a blessing. Hoping everything is well with you, fathers, today. We want to encourage you with just a little something. Want to share some thoughts with you concerning taking your seat. That has nothing to do with a remote control, has nothing to do with your little gaming station, but we want you to take a place and a position that you as fathers know is yours.
We
We're
got a special surprise
got a
today.
special surprise.
Yes, we do. We have my father-in-law.
And my father, who has set a great example for me, Robert Lee Roseboro Sr., a man that I watched from my childhood coming up. I would say a solid man. And he was definitely a rock for our family. And you didn't hear me say anything about perfect, did you? And that's the thing about it. Sometimes we talk about perfection, has nothing to do with it. That was a man that was present. That was a man of integrity, a man that said that he was going to do something, and he did it. And that's one thing I got to say about him. A good example. Again, if you would, I want to also my mother is here, and I just want to say kudos, hello to
Hey,
my
Mom.
mother has been there as well. Both my parents have been a foundation for us. And on this Father's Day, I want to encourage the fathers, the men, and I thank the Lord for my wife, Melendia, and our family, who has, gosh, man, made it a pleasure for me being a father, and even for, just being there. Gosh, man, for my family. And it's a pleasure and an honor for me to have been a father and a leader over my family and this woman right here. Again, if we would, we're going to point to that chair again. And again, we say, fathers, take your seat. So why am I saying this? The seat is empty right now. And there's a thing, we want fathers to take their seat. And again, fathers out there, if you would, we want to tell you kudos. I want to wish, again, my father happy Father's Day, my brother, Robert, my nephews out there, my uncles out there, just brothers that I either work with or been acquainted with, or people that I don't know, been associated with, brothers in the Lord, even brothers not. So I want to say to you, happy Father's Day. This is with love. This is from the heart. I have my father today. The reason I'm being slow about this, because again, this is a man I look up to, and we want to encourage other fathers and relationships there. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to mask up, and this is a unique Father's Day here. I must say, a very unique Father's Day, because you see what we're doing right now with the mask, and I want to be protective, with my parents, and because again, my father is a man of 90 years, almost 91, 91 and a half, 90 and a half, almost going on 91. So again, what we want to do, want to introduce my father. We want to share some things with, and again, my father, Robert Lee Roseboro Sr. Okay, so we're going to go over. I'm going to sit next.
There he is.
This is my father. So I want to introduce my father to the J. Kerr family.
Ouch.
Robert L. Roseboro Sr. Okay, and we want to talk a little bit today about fatherhood. And again, as I mentioned, take your seat. Now, for my father, Robert Jr., he has been here as a beacon for our family. And I want to tell my father, thank you, for what you have been to us. It wasn't always the closeness, wasn't always there, wasn't always there. But I thank God that he allowed me to understand my father's plight. So again, we want to encourage the fathers out there and the ones that haven't taken the seat. And the seat I'm talking about is the seat of protection, the seat of surrounding your family, the seat of leadership, the seat there to set an example for your families. If you haven't and you are not taking that seat, we want to encourage you today to take the seat, to take that seat. And so my father, and I'm going to let him tell a story. He grew up and in a family, and the seat was empty. There was no father there in that seat. So for him, I want him to share his experience with that. And maybe fathers, if you're not there for your kids, maybe you can learn something from that and to see how important that is for a father to be there, to be in your life, to be present, to be in the seat. So Dad, if you would, just welcome you to our Just Keeping It Real audience, our family. And I just want you to share your experience of coming up and not having a father there, and just the absence of that, what that did in your life.
That caused me to be an angry person. From the time I can remember, when my daddy left his family, I was 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And from that time on, I was in a lost world. I was angry. But I'm glad I can say that my youngest son, Charles, helped me get over the anger I had been with me for 50 years.
Yeah, can I interject just a little bit?
Yeah.
What he's talking about, as a child, your children know when something is going on at times. And I know we used to talk as our kids, our siblings, we just say, oh, Dad is mean, man. But after most of my siblings left, and you and I, we had spent time together,
Yeah.
and I know in a conversation there where I became a little vulnerable, as a teenager. I was, 15, 16, Father and I had a discussion. And we've always felt we didn't have a voice, as a child. It was always us listening, you were talking. So, and at that time, I said to you, I think you said, you think you're a man or something, you mentioned to me. And I said, no, I know I'm not a man, I'm your son. And I say, you don't listen to us, that's why I can't talk to you. And that started a dialect then, and then you and I started talking. But as I noticed and came up years later, as we conversated, I noticed that my father seemed to have had some anger. And so by this time I was in my maybe 20s or 30s. And then I said, something came to me saying, your father needs to forgive in order to be free. He needs to forgive. So, and that's what we want to say. And so I mentioned to you, actually, I said, Dad, have you forgiven your father? You remember that conversation?
Yes.
I asked my father, have he forgiven his father? And so, but we go ahead and finish telling that story now. Go ahead.
When my dad was 93 years old, our son Charles, found him and got us together. And he was in the nursing home, sick. I looked down on him and I had to cry because I couldn't hold it. As I cried, the anger left me. And love came between me and my dad. Through my son, what for him, my dad would have died. And I still would have been angry at my father. It really damages a child when both parents is not with them. And I know I was a mean, mad child for many years. And it hurt me, but I didn't know what to do about it. I wasn't learning what to do about it. But when I learned more about God and my youngest son, Charles, he really helped me forgive my dad. And I felt very inside.
With that in mind, what we want to say is that for your fathers there that are not in the seat, or you're not having taken the seat, we encourage you to take that seat. If there's a void in your child's life right now, we're saying to that child, forgiveness is the key. Forgiveness is the start to your freedom. Because again, as I learned, and I shared with my father, because I think you probably in your maybe 60s, yeah, and see, and at the time, that was hard for me, because to even ask that question. But once I learned through God through the Word, I learned that forgiveness is the key. I had to share that with my father, but I was nervous to share it because I didn't know how you would respond. And you didn't respond very well when I asked that question the first time. But it came together. God brought it together. And what we are saying is that as my father, even a man in his late 60s to his early 70s, was to forgive his father who was in his 90s, and he got released through that forgiveness, then you today, in order to be free, child, son, daughter, you got to forgive that father, even though the seat is empty. You got to forgive him. And what we're asking you fathers is that you be aware today that it's important for your child. We're talking to my father here that's 90 and a half years old, and he's telling you how he, and even from a child, that he carried this bitterness. He carried this till he was in his late 60s or early 70s. Come on, fathers, take the seat. Take the seat. We need to protect our children. Take the seat. We need to be leaders for them. Take the seat. Fathers, come on. We need to take the seat. Some of you may be incarcerated. If you hear me, then get with whether it's a ministry or some form of help to resources that help you to actually learn how to be a father, to learn God's word. Get with somebody. Get with mentors. Because, Dad, did you, for you coming up, and you're raising a family of 6 children, you and mom, did you have an example or did you get a heads up or a book to read or instruction or manual to help you as a father?
No, I didn't.
So, and I'm sure you made mistakes.
Many mistakes.
And myself, I didn't either. You know, I made mistakes with our 2 children.
Yeah.
So what we are saying is that brothers out there, let's take hold, let's lock arms, let's teach each other, and let's learn, you know, how to be fathers, how to be good fathers. Not just a father, because a lot of them feel like because I can make a baby, then it makes me a man. Listen, you may be the father of many, but you may not be the father to any. And that's what we're trying to talk about here today. Learn to be not just a man, but a man of God and a father. So, again, you know, Dad, I appreciate you know, sharing that, because I was able to witness that. And we haven't talked about that much. You know,
That's
you
right.
said that. We haven't even we haven't talked about this much. So, Dad, if you would, again, I'm going to turn our family back over to you. You can say whatever is on your heart concerning it.
First, I'd like to thank you for getting me with my dad, because that changed my life.
And absolutely, definitely. I was honored to be there. I was honored to be able to do that. God used me, and I was honored to do it. So,
There's nowhere in the world I could have had forgiveness in my heart if I had to see my dad in his dying days, almost in his dying days.
right.
Look down on him,
Right.
and forgive him.
And it was four generations of us.
Yes.
You know, your father, you, me, and my son Darren. So
Yeah.
we were all there, 4 generations of us, man. And we all gathered something, garnered something that day. And that was this, you know, definitely. And I think that helped everybody that day. That's it. Go ahead, Dan. I'm sorry.
I appreciate that, because it really changed my life in many ways. And for you being like you are, you really helped to change my life and be a better father.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate
Really, that helped me.
it. Yes, sir.
We spent time together. And back in the old days, parents wasn't even associated with children. They didn't never have a quiet conversation or nothing like that. But it really changed me, and all my children have to change me to be a better father, and that really helped me.
So I want to say something on that, Doc. Is that son, daughter, talk to your parents, talk to your father. If you something you don't understand, question it. Wonder why he is the man he is. Ask the questions. Ask him. I'm not saying you're going to get good answers. It may be hard. The truth may be hard. But start the conversation. Fathers, start the conversation with your sons and your daughters. Find out who they are. Find out who each other is in a relationship. We've got to do that. We've got to work at it. And that's one thing. Fathering is just not just having babies or getting females pregnant. That's not it. It takes work to be a father. Not just a father, but a great father at that. It takes work. Put in the work. Take the seat, fathers. Take the seat, because the seat is empty. It is time for us to do it for protection. We need to do it for leadership, mentorship. We need to do those things. And also, I want to say this too, that God not only placed me here with my father to have resolution or basically coming together there with your father, but also my wife. I want to say that God had allowed me to be there because my wife also grew up and her father wasn't there for her. So again, I experienced some of the same things, and I hope she don't mind me telling her story. But there was some, and if you want to chime in, you definitely could do it, because there's a hurt there. So I dealt with a hurt from this. Yeah, I recognize that, and I recognize that from my wife. And so with that, God allowed me to be in another place that I kept trying to bring she and the father together. And it got to a point that it just wasn't working out each time. But I thank God that before he passed away, before he left this earth, that we were able to resolve that issue. We were able to come together. Yeah. We were able to talk about forgiveness. We were able to say that we love each other. And I'm going to tell you, as far as black men, can I talk to the black man 1 second? The brothers, can I talk to the black man 1 second? Because in our family, one thing we don't say is I love you. That's one thing we don't say. And we grew up, we didn't say that. We didn't hug. There was little to no emotional affection there shown. But guess what? The woman here behind this camera or this phone is the one that caused me to release in that area. And also I had a brother, and I have to give props to my brother, Charles, who also released me when it comes to men, to say, hey brother, we can be vulnerable with each other. And that I appreciate. And she had me to say, one day, you probably remember, we were here, and she said, well, why don't you kiss your father? Yeah. You remember that? And I sit back and I looked at her and I'm thinking, woman, why are you trying to start something now? You know, that's how I felt, because that wasn't us. But that, then it was a challenge, and I took the challenge. And then even to say I love you, that's something we didn't do. But we do now. My father and I were close. Like I say, all this stuff here that we got going on, I want to be careful, with that, with my father. But I want to say thank you, Dad. I want to say thank you for being a solid man. Thank you for being a man of your word. Thank you for being a businessman. Thank you, man, just for leading our family out, even Bible. I want to say thank you, for the spiritual, you and Mom. Thank you all. And like I say, again, we don't talk perfection, but we love you. And again, Dad, thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for your wisdom.
Thank you for helping me to be a better man.
So what we're going to do, Dad, I would like for you, we're going to end our call here in our meeting with our family with some words of wisdom from my father, who has lived through a lot of stuff, especially with black man. We're going through a lot. He's seen a lot. And I'm just saying, Dad, if you would, reach out to the families there and some word of wisdom that you can give.
What I would say to help family, men, don't touch a woman that you would marry. And please be a father when you're a father. Never leave your children, because you can have somebody be hurt for a whole lifetime if you don't.
Is it? You good? Okay. All right. And something I want to say is that we also need to practice unconditional love. Fathers, you may have sons and daughters probably not doing half of what you think they ought to be doing. Mm-hmm. Don't worry so much about your thing. See, for me as a father, I know, and as a parent, children may not do what we desire. But the thing about it, if you lead an example and teach them God's way, God's path, then when they veer off, just like the prodigal son, that father was there waiting. He was there waiting for his son to return back. And he met him and greeted him with a hug, with a robe, with a ring. So that was restoration. Either way, if your children don't do like you, or like even the way God said, love them unconditionally. I didn't say side with the wrong. I said love them even through the wrong, unconditionally. Confirm them. You are my son, you are my daughter. You don't have to do anything to be that. That's who you are. Affirm that. Speak those words. You are my godly son, my godly daughter. So in short, again, we want to thank you all, but I'm going to hear the last words from my father. Where's this? Got anything else you'd like to say, Dan?
I tell anybody, you can't make it without God. You have to have God in your life to be a man.
Yes, sir. Right.
Trust God and do God's work.
And it's okay to be vulnerable. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Dad, I love you, man.
Yeah.
You know, I love you. And
Love you,
with
sir.
all what we're dealing with here,
Yes.
I love my father.
Yeah.
And I tell you,
Yes.
and I appreciate the woman behind this
Yes.
that helped open me up. Again, fathers, take your seat. The seat is empty. Again, we're not talking about a recliner with a remote control. We're not talking about a gaming station. We're talking about the seat for your family, the seat for your children. Take it. The seat is empty. Well, until the next time, just keeping it real with Charles and Melendia, or with my father, Robert L. Roseborough, Senior. Again, happy Father's Day to you.
Yeah.
All right. Just keeping it real.